Hey guys, welcome back to Barrovian Made. Bit of a different one this time. I have some big, chunky oak beams. I got these at a very, very reduced rate. I think for the both of these, I paid probably about 40 or 50 pounds. These were air dried outside. They've been out there for about 3 years at a local sawmill I go to. This one here has a lot of rot on it and stuff, and I was told they were dry to the core. I don't think so. Like, this one here is about 6 inches either way, and I think for air drying the rule of thumb is a year for every inch, and that's only been out for 3 years. And obviously I'm never going to use them in big chunky beams. I'll obviously want planks, so to speed up the drying process and so I can actually use this stock somewhat soon, I want to try and mill these up. Now, I know I've got a little chainsaw sawmill. I don't want to use that on this because obviously the chainsaw thickness is fairly thick. So I want to try rip these down on my table saw. But I've tried this on ripping down big beams and stuff in the past. Not quite like this. It wasn't a beam, it was like a block of wood. I did it in a video. Chopping board engrave video, and because the wood's not square on either side and stuff, when I'd run it through the table saw, flip it round to do the other cut, the cuts wouldn't line up, so I'd end up with a lot of waste. I want to try and minimize that waste and try a few things, and obviously I'll be doing this with tools that a lot of people have in their shed, so I want to see if I can do it, because if I can do it, it means you can do it. You can buy yourself some really cheap lumber, dry it out nicely, because I plan to put all this inside the house, inside my bedroom, to hopefully, dry out quicker. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is get my surface planer, somehow run these behemoth of the beams in there. I want to saw this one down the middle here, so I'm going to try and get the surface planer to have 2 parallel sides on here. So hopefully this goes right. I don't have big expectations. I could potentially ruin these beams, but for the price of them, I'm not too fussed if I ruin them. Either way, I'll still have usable wood out of them for only 50 odd quid, 50 quid, and I can always go back and buy some more beams. So let's get cracked on. Let's try do this. Get these. Oh.
FBI, open up!
I just want to quickly check how square this surface is to this, because these 2 sides should be all parallel now and flat. But if I can square up these 2 sides as well, that would be awesome. It feels pointless squaring everything up because as they dry they'll move. But it's got a slight twist. This is mostly flat here, and then it twists slightly here. It's not a massive twist though. What about this side? That's square there. Square. Square. And again, this side has a twist in it. So from here upwards, has a slight twist in it. I wonder if we just take a little bit off, whether we can get that twist out. Oh, we won't be able to, will we? Because it will just pull it through. Tell you what, let's do a couple of passes on one side and just see what happens. By the way, I can tell now that I've taken that top surface off that this wood is far from being dry. Tell you what, I've got my moisture sensor handy. Right, had a go at squaring it up. I can't square it with the surface planer, so I'm just going to send it with the table saw and try my best to keep it flat. The bigger, I don't know if you can see it, this bigger beam, this one is far from square. Don't know if you can look down there and see it's shaped a bit like a rhombus. So I'll do this one last. We'll get our practice in with the one that is pretty much square. I should really be wearing my steel toe caps doing all this, but well, let's break a toe. So what we are going to do first, because this blade is a fine cutting blade for woodworking, obviously, and this blade is more designed to go across the grain. We need to put a blade on that's a really more aggressive tooth and designed to go with the grain, I think. I'm not very knowledgeable in the subject. Don't be using this as a tutorial. This is a trial and error video to see if we all can do it at home. So let me show you the blade that I have acquired. I've got in this blade. This is a 28 teeth blade. This one, which I use for my normal woodworking stuff, what is this? This has got 60 teeth on it, and you can see the different pattern here. So we're going to be cutting some bigger stuff with the grain with this. This has got flat bottom top. This one's got a round bottom top. So I'm not too knowledgeable on why you use certain blades for different stuff, but I have been told to change the saw blade because the last time I tried cutting big stock with the grain on my table saw, it just ended up with a bunch of smoke. So I have been told this is meant to be better. So a lot thicker blade as well. I think this is probably about 3, maybe 4 millimeters wide and thick. So yeah, still gonna be losing less than if I use my chainsaw, but we'll see. We might end up using more because the cuts aren't going to be square, and obviously this is designed to cut square material, isn't it? So I'm gonna quit rambling. We'll shove this new blade on, and we'll just have a crack at trying to cut a beam. So the beam, that I have right now is about 4 inches thick, and after this is all said and done, when it's dry and when I'm using it, I'd ideally want it to be 1 inch thick for a table, maybe even 1.5 inches. So I've got two options here. I can just rip it straight down the middle and have two 2-inch planks. That means when it dries out, if there's any cupping, anything like that, I've got plenty of material to work with to get it down to being flat and still have it really nice and chunky. Or I can risk it a little bit, cut it to 1.5 inches, get an extra board out of it that'll be 1 inch thick, and pray that it doesn't twist, bend and do all sorts. This is quite nice oak looking at the grain now that it's all the rough exterior is all surfaced off. So I'm torn at the minute. Inch and a half. That's still pretty decent. Tell you what, we're going to go with an inch and a half. We're just going to risk it. 1/2 inch. Hopefully it doesn't cup or do anything over 1/2 inch, because then at least we still have 1 inch to play with. So let's whack our insert back in. As far as I can tell, that went well. Let's have the look at the quality of the cut. Oh, that's like perfect. God, the inside of this wood is absolutely soaking. I'm having a hard time believing this air dried for 3 years. It feels like it was just cut. I wish I could find my moisture meter so I could show you and compare the moistures between now and in a few months when it's dried out in my room. But yeah, here's our first oak plank. That's really heavy. Be able to make some nice tabletops out of this, I think. Oh, I think probably a good idea would be to go back to that sawmill, buy up all of their beams for a very cheap price, cut them all up like this, dry them all, maybe in the summer make a solar kiln, and then I'll have really, really cheap lumber and a lot of it. Things to think about. But let's set this off to the side, let's cut the other one. So this one wandered off slightly at the end. All this is perfectly flat and the blade met up perfectly in the middle. Over this side it looks like it dug in the opposite side about 1 millimeter or so, which I am completely happy with. This is better results than what I thought, but this doesn't look to be 1 inch thick. Oh, I didn't account for the blade width, did I? Oh, so I've lost, god damn it. So this board isn't going to be as thick as I wanted it to. Yeah, it's 3/4 of 1 inch. So I'll still be able to use this for something. I can cut it up into small sections and make a round table from it, I think. Well, I've got the two nice big chunky boards that are absolute, god, this is the one from the middle. It's soaking. You guys let me know if it should be that wet after 3 years on the inside, because I'm not convinced it was dry for 3 years. That is bloody soaking. That's like it was cut. I mean, it had the patina on the outside. Like, I haven't got anything to show you the patina, but, well, actually, you can see it on this one, really. Like, whoa, bloody hell. See the patina on this, it's all cracked and stuff. Although these might have been cut at different times, God knows. But let's do this big one now. This one I'm worried about because I can barely lift it. It's about 6 foot and a bit and 6 inches either side, so it's bloody heavy. But let me get my square and figure out which side is going to be the best side to do our first cut on. So these two sides are parallel. Oh, that just tapers straight off there. I don't need a bloody square to see that. So I'm not cutting from that side. This side looks relatively straight, so I don't really think we have an option. We're just gonna have to go for this side. God, that cut on there though is so bad. So I just want to include a warning here. If you are going to do this at home, please be safe about it. This thing was very, very heavy because of how heavy, because how big it is and the amount of moisture in it. So lugging it around my tiny little shed with a tool, you know, while it's at full capacity and stuff, and it's not bolted down to anything, is I don't know, kind of a stupid idea. I mean, I got it to work without a hitch, and you know, I'm still counting 10, but it still is, you know, a lot. You know, if something binds up or whatever, and I try to put my finger in there to do anything, it could easily cut me and ruin my day. So just be careful about it when you're doing it at home. Just a fair warning. If you see something blatantly dangerous, don't copy it. But yeah. Anyway, when I was trying to mill this one up, because it was shaped a bit like a rhombus, I tried just doing a normal cut to square up the other side. And it worked, but because of how tall my blade is, it didn't do it to the whole side. So I had to plane it down a little bit with the hand plane. And I still didn't get a perfect cut, but I got a lot less waste than what I would have done if I used my chainsaw sawmill. Which, by the way, is all broken and out of commission. So that was a wasted thing, although I did get a couple of slabs out of it that were nice. But if I ever get some big logs in the future, I think I'm just going to buy one of those. I think they're Alaskan sawmills. I think they're pretty cheap, and you can just actually attach them to the chainsaw. You know, I didn't buy one in the first place because I thought they were a bit dangerous, but after seeing the death trap I made, it's probably less dangerous than that. But anyway, we managed to use the plane, square it up enough that we can get some actual decent cuts out of this. And one thing I should have done is just lop off that rotten end, because I was hoping that the wood inside would be a lot better, and it wasn't. It was pretty much all the way through. It was all rotten, so I cut the things down all to the same, and here's everything we got. And it's looking really nice, and I'm happy with the amount that I got out of it for the amount I had. But yeah, here's everything in my room, how it's going to be drying. Hope you liked the video, guys. See you next time.